Yeah. So welcome Thursday night, same place, same time, EDAR164. So yeah, like I said, we have quite a little bit of exploration tonight. So we'll get on with it. Okay, so if you haven't seen this before, quite an interesting poster. So you've got all the reasons, all the reasons why children should explore the arts, okay, and arts education. So we've got collaboration and cooperation, communication, be creative, think creatively, be inspired, develop that sense of aesthetics and emotion and problem solving, organizing themselves, organizing each other, I guess, and focusing. That I've already mentioned problem solving. So problem solving, hypothesizing, analyzing, it's all in there. And the making skills and the responding skills and that pure understanding, self-direction, so that autonomy of learning, being socially responsible, so social emotional development, of course, which they badly need in the early years, and throughout school, because we want them to be resilient. We want them to be able to cope with certain situations, and the arts really support that. Be fluent with technology, and as the generations go through, they really are fluent with technology. So yeah, developing those media literacy skills and as well as the arts skills, so visual arts literacies and drama literacies and dance music literacies. Okay, move on. So just a little snippet of information, but I do note there's a typo in this. The provision of open-ended challenges and self-initiated art making is essential in child's in a child's meaning making, and that's what it's all about in early childhood. It is about meaning making, so exposing them rather than imposing your views and your ideologies. Okay, so as they grow, they develop an innate curiosity and artistic expression. So a toddler the baby starts with the scribbling stage. They discover the outcome of the intentional mark making that they are exploring, so it's visible to them. It might not make any sense to you, but it does to them. So from their action, there's an effect. So as you know, every action there is a reaction or a effect of what they do. They will explore color, they will make lines, they'll explore shapes, they'll explore size, they explore textures, and and then all the principles as well, as well as the elements. So I've just gone through a number of elements there. So, it's all about exposing the children to those visual literacies and artistic expression, especially because tonight we are talking about visual arts, whereas last week we were focusing on drama and dance, a little bit more drama, dance, music. All right. So they are gaining a sense of agency. So you would have heard this word before, autonomy. They work independently or with others to make and create. So they work collaboratively or they work independently. And that's that co-constructivist approach to learning. So, and that comes up in your assessment, actually. So the constructivist theory is about how humans learn. So we learn from one another. We learn knowledge, and they provide knowledge that they have learnt prior or previously. So it is about extending that knowledge. It is about introducing them to new knowledge. because that's learning. That's what learning is about, of course. So it just only makes sense. So they problem solve and they make decisions, of course. They develop their fine motor control and hand-eye coordination. So, you know, when we say avoid cookie cutter explorations, which we'll have a look at later on, and handmade and explorations, because they aren't, you know, there's a limited avenue for creativity. Those investigations, so the very much teacher, or that explicit teaching, so the teacher initiated exploration of craft or exploration of art, where it is just follow me, they are gaining fine motor skills. So there is a avenue for that, but in terms of creativity, it does limit them in their creativity. So, you know, when you see, 25 ladybugs on the wall from a paper plate, made out of a paper plate, then that limits creativity. But it is, in the very early years, it does introduce them to fine motor control. So that development of fine motor and hand-eye coordination. They cultivate their own learning dispositions. They develop within their schematic growth. Okay, and we'll be going through the pre-schematic stage and schematic stages of development in a moment. So they will develop visible literacies, and I think I'm going to be a bit like a broken record in this regard, because the more you are exploring with the children, exposing them and exploring arts with the children, the more higher their literacy skills are going to become. So they learn to describe. They learn to, you're teaching them that anyway, but through the arts, using colours, they can articulate within a story the colours and the textures of the cloth the person is wearing, and so on. Okay, so highly recommend that you do have a look at Dinham and Chalk, your text. It's arts play, young children belonging, being and becoming, because that text is the source of some of the source of these slides. So if we have a look at Lowenfeld and Britton's stages of drawing development, we see that within the 2 years, 0 to 2 years frame of development, we have the scribble stage. So that's that first mark making. So disordered scribbles, enjoyable kinesthetic exploration. So it's that sensory awareness, that sensory exploration. And then between 3 to 4 years old, they have the consciousness of creating forms. So and this is what we call the pre-schematic stage. And then as we move on to that at about 6 years, and it's not a definite happens at 6 years, might happen a bit before for some children, but we move on to the schematic stage. So that's that definite portrayal of meaning. So what they see is what they are drawing, not using their perception so much. Okay, they are trying in the other ages before that, but the forms are becoming more detailed and more recognizable to the adult, okay, to the person who's standing outside their thought process. Okay, and then you go to the 8 to 10 years old range, and that's when you've got dawning realization. So the dawning realism, I should say, the realization of very much realistic features. So you can touch on photorealism there. So that real observational drawing techniques and observational learning. So what you see is what you're going to put down on paper. So a lot of detail. Okay, so this is an example. So of course we've got the scribble stage, and and that might be a child might say, well, that's a boat. on the water when I went away camping. But to us, it's not recognizable as that. But to that child, that's the meaning making behind it. And then you've got the pre-schematic there, which you would have seen these time and time again. The little people they draw, the head and the body is in one, and the arms and legs are coming out of the head body. Yeah, and sometimes the features aren't there. Now that you will see it. You will see it in early childhood. It's a given. And then the schematic stage. So that dawning, the dawning of realism. So you've got that. You've got the little girl next to the building there, and then. Sorry, I should have said the dawning of realism is the next stage. So I haven't actually got that there. Okay. So very young learners, they use their senses to discover the qualities of materials. So actually giving them a chance to be outside even and collect natural objects so they can feel and sense, use their, kinesthetic and, their sense of taste, their sense of smell, their sense of feeling, so touching. So providing aesthetic engagement is very important in the early years, so allowing them to make random marks as they gain control of drawing and painting, because it really, I don't know if any of you have been to drawing lessons before or painting lessons before as an adult, then you learn that you paint from either your wrist or your hand or your arm. So it's a bit more free flowing with the wrist. So children need to explore this too, need to gain an awareness of their control of the implement that they use. So, and I am finding right now that in very young children, there is a definite lax in their fine motor control. So very, what's the word I'm looking for? Fine motor control is not developing as much as it should be. So they're very weak in that regard. Their pencil marks are very weak, so very light on the page. So I work with those children and I try and develop those fine motor skills by doing exercises. So clay, Play-Doh, anything that we can structure and is, really quite sticky, I guess, or malleable, we use to actually support the fine motor growth and fine motor development. Is there anyone out there who has seen this also too, who has experienced a child with poor fine motor control? No?
Yeah, I have at my work.
Yep. And what do you do? What do you provide them with some sort of support, like getting them to maybe build up their fine motor?
Yeah, I guess we do plan more activities based around using their fine motor skills, but
yeah.
There's been quite a lot of children that we've had that have had really poor fine motor skills. So we just try and, some of these examples we do use, like what's it called? Play-Doh is
Play-Doh.
a good one.
Yeah.
They really enjoy doing that, and I think it's about finding the in-between of what they enjoy and something that actually helps them.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think the arts is, visual arts is a very good avenue for that support. So actually providing them with the resources that they can build up their fine motor is really important. Getting them to actually be able to handle it, because it is handle the resources, because it is going to come out in their writing. So the more support we can give them, the better. Okay, so in doing so making random marks, drawing and using drawing and painting tools, dripping, smudging paint, so using their fingers and finger paint, squeezing, glue bottles, allowing them to do that. Find a lot of teachers and teacher aides doing it for them. So the more you can allow them to explore and use these things, the better their fine motor control is going to be, and their problem solving, and their collaborating. So, you know, social, emotional, physical, and cognitive growth. Folding and ripping paper, you know, not having the squares all cut out or the triangles all cut out for them, getting them to actually look at the shape on the board, on the whiteboard, and getting them to try and cut out that shape for themselves. You know, you may not have the perfect rabbit or the perfect mouse or whatever you're doing, but as in shape wise, but at least they're giving it a good go. So they're using their problem solving skills. They're using their technique, you know, that they have learned. Yeah, so folding and ripping paper, gluing items onto collaged artworks. Now, if you're a parent or you do work in an early childhood setting, you will know that the collage table is a fantastic area for children to explore. They love gluing. They love using all the different papers, all the different resources that you have on the collage table. Why not allow them to cut out the shapes and load up the collage table, you know, like allow them to explore those shapes and provide that for the collage table. Okay, so construct using blocks or other building materials, of course. So that's sculpture, you know, and in early childhood blocks, yeah, we used to have a block corner. So I think one of the big buildings lasted for, I think, possibly about 4 weeks. Just kept on getting higher and higher and higher. Now that's back in the day when blocks were blocks, wooden. Now you're getting soft blocks, which I'm thinking, you know, I guess it's more, you know, got to do with safety. I haven't been in the preschool area for a long time, but I mean, as in a preschool teacher, but building blocks. We used to have a hammer corner and we used to have them hammering. So building up all those muscles in their hands. But anyway, got different tools now. So can you add to these ideas? What have you seen out there? What have you seen on prac to support our young learners in their fine motor development and you know, social, emotional, cognitive development? All been very quiet tonight. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, so I've just got a slide on the curriculum, so the connection to the curriculum. If you haven't by now, I suggest that you do look at the Australian curriculum, Foundation to Year 2. Have a look at the ELF document. You know, you're going to be referring to them within your assessments, but it's a good idea to get your head around what they contain anyway. Now, the Foundation to Year 2 level, we have got the content descriptors. Now, by this stage, because I'm thinking you all have been out on prac, are you first years or second years? So, or a mixture?
Second year.
Second year? So you've been out on prac, Lucy?
Not yet, but I should have 2 pracs from this semester.
Oh, okay. Yep. So are there any first years here who Lucy hasn't done a prac yet, but are there any first years who haven't done a prac? Any more? So you all should have done a prac. So you would have had some sort of connection to the curriculum anyway in your planning. So within the arts, you know, I think Kathleen, like I said last week, has hyperlinked the Australian curriculum and the ELF document there. So try and get your head around it, please. So, you know, one of the content descriptors, explore ideas, experiences, observations, and imagination to create visual artworks. And, you know, and that's, it then goes on to connect Australian Indigenous artworks and ideas. All right, and then you've got use and experiment with different materials, techniques, technologies, and processes to make artworks. So, you know, that connection, you can see it. It's really straightforward. Use and experiment with different materials. So, and techniques. We need to provide that for them. We need to provide them with the resources in order for them to experiment, create and display artworks to communicate ideas. Well, discussing what their artwork is about. Responding to visual artworks, which we are going to have a look at a bit later on, is really important because it is about making and responding. Okay, so what are the elements? All right, so we have got line, the linear marks made with a pen or brush or the edge of something created when two shapes meet. All right, so, you know, line marks when they do meet creates a shape. So that's one of our, that's another one of our elements. So a shape is a self-contained defined area of geometry. Okay, so squares and circles, you've got organic shapes, so trees, free form shapes, I should say, not trees, natural shapes that you find out in the garden. You can have positive and negative shapes, of course. So a line, when it meets, is a shape, simple as that. Lines by themselves, you know, you've got all sorts of lines, and you can, you know, curve, zigzag, you know, so they learn all those descriptive words for those elements. There's value, so the lightness or darkness of tones of colors. Of course, you have got colors, so color is light reflected off objects. Color has three main characteristics, and that's hue, value, and intensity. So we can have a complete saturation of color or not. We have the primary colors, which we'll go through in a moment, because we're going to do a little bit of color mixing. So the primary colors are red, blue, and yellow, and then the secondary colors are green, orange, and purple, of course. And then you have the tertiary colors. And then we've got size. So it is the relationship of an area occupied by a shape or a form. So you have different size shapes, of course, and then you have texture, which can be tactile texture or visible texture or both. Okay, so like the rough and smooth of something. So say you want the children to describe a tree visually. So they might create, which they will create, a visible texture, so that the bark, using lines and shapes and in different colors. All right, so the principles, on the other hand, work in unison with the elements to create a composition. And these are balance, repetition and pattern, contrast, movement, and emphasis. And here are some definitions. So rhythm is a principle of design that indicates movement, of course. Balance is a way of combining elements to add a feeling of equilibrium, so a nice balance. Now, things can be asymmetrical, compositions can be asymmetrical or symmetrical and have an even balance. All right, and then there's emphasis, contrast, a way of combining elements to stress the differences, the differences in the elements, the combination of elements. So it might be that you have all black objects with a red object in the middle. Then you've got proportion, a principle of design that refers to the relationship of a certain element to the whole and to each other. You've got gradation, so it's a gradual change in the different elements. You've got harmony, so you know, there might be some similarities, and that there could be just that slightest gradual change that creates that sense of harmony. You've got variety, which is an element which can explore, you know, repetition, pattern. It can explore the different elements, of course, in that content. And then you've got movement, so it creates a look and feeling of action. All right. So as children are exposed to authentic arts, and that's what we're here to, talk about, authentic arts, they will discover the elements and principles. So it's natural. It's natural that they actually discover them and they respond to them, because everyone's going to use colour at some stage. Everyone's going to use lines. I don't know of a artwork that doesn't use lines in some capacity. Okay, whether it's the edge of something, an edge of a color, or the sculpture added, you know, some line, have got some line intensity. So lines are important. All the elements are important. So the children do discover, it's a natural progression that they do discover elements and principles within their artwork, and they do develop those skills that will enhance their artworks through the combination of elements and principles too. All right. So we did a continuous line drawing last week, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, we did. Okay. Now what I want you to do, though, we're going to explore continuous line again, portrait drawing, but this time we are going to imagine that someone has got some sort of bird sitting on their head. So not only are you going to focus in on the face today, but you're actually going to draw an imaginary bird sitting on that person's head. Okay. So, it's up to you what medium you use, but for the people who have just joined us tonight, continuous line is one continuous line. Okay, so it's that one continuous line, which is creating the form and the shape of the face. So you're going to continue that line and create a bird sitting on someone's head. Okay, so how many people have we got? All right, 12. So I'm going to break you up into 6 breakout rooms, and you are going to draw each other with that imaginary bird on your head. Okay. Breakout rooms. I'll just put 6. Okay, so any questions about that? Are we all good to go?
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay. And then we'll reveal our beautiful pictures, our beautiful compositions. Remembering that the key elements here are line and shape, and the principles are movement and balance. Okay. All right. I'll see you soon. Okay, for those people at home, I'd like you to look in the mirror and draw yourselves with an imaginary bird on your head. Okay, so have a good go at that. Post them to the discussion forum if you can, upload them, and let us all have a little look at your artwork. It isn't a competition, and it isn't a portrayal of well, it's not exposure to how good or how bad you are at art. It's just that exploration of this concept, okay, this activity. All right, so I'll let you do that.
I was in a breakout room, but the person left.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Where did they go? Don't know. Hang on. How many people have we got then? Okay. Do you want to just draw me?
Okay.
You might as well. Okay, draw me. I'm going to sit still for you.
Okay.
I'm just going to pause recording. Zoom recording. Can we have a little look at your visuals?
You didn't give us very long.
Oh, did you? I did it? I had Lucy drawing me. So, hey, Josh, push it up further to the photo. Oh, no, not that further. Hang on. It's very light. How's your fine motor control?
Horrible.
Oh, nice, Madison. You push yours up a bit. Thank you, Josh. Push yours up a little bit closer. Oh, yeah, nice. Okay, bird standing. Now, one continuous line. Oh, Raheel, that looks great. That looks good too. Nice one. Shania, put yours up. Nice. So one continuous line. You weren't tempted to do. Oh, okay. Hang on, Paris. Give me a look. Oh, no, yours is sitting forward. That's lovely. And Linda, hang on a minute. You might have to move it over a bit. And down. 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 Oh, yours is just, oh, I was just talking. That's me, is it?
No, that's Julia.
Julia.
Yeah.
Nice. Bird. I was just talking to Lucy. Was it you?
Me?
Yeah, you drew me. I was just talking to Lucy about the birds wanting my hair as a nest.
Oh, I've got some.
Oh,
I've got
Kamal, it was you. Was it you? Yeah, Kamal. Sorry. Lucy, you didn't draw me. Who did you draw, Lucy?
Is it Shania? Shania? I forgot if I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong again. But we did I added the bird at the very end. I forgot about the bird.
Oh, that's all right. That's
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Thanks,
No
everyone.
worries.
Hang on, Kamal. I've got to see me. Oh, nice. Big head. I have got a big head. Nice one. All right. So let's have a look at the next one. All right. So this is blind continuous line, but I'm not going to get you to do this. We're going to skip over this because blind unless you weren't here for it, blind continuous line. Do you want to have a go at the blind continuous line and see what you come up with? And we'll just do it really, really quickly. Do you want to have a go, guys? Any takers? Hang on a minute. I can't see you. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anybody not familiar with blind continuous line?
Could you please explain it, Victoria?
Yeah, sure. Blind continuous line is where you're not allowed to look down at your page, but you have to use your pen in one continuous line. Okay. So you would have been looking down at your page before with the continuous line. This time you are not allowed to. You have to just look at the person in front of you and that's it. So you're going to do that imaginary bird sitting on your partner's head again, and you're going to draw each other at the same time. Okay. So but you cannot look down. So I'm going to put you back into breakout rooms again.
Thank you.
And I do use this quite a lot, but it's quite a neat drawing exploration for the children. So I'll put you back in. Okay, Sarah, I'm going to move you with, I'm going to move you to room 3. Hang on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you should be all together. Oh, we got 3 in a group there. Oh, well, that's all right. You just choose the person you want to draw. Okay, I'll see you soon. Oh, Emily. Hang on. Emily, you're not in a group?
Yes.
Are you
I just back here.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm going to assign you to a group.
Yes, thank you.
How about going to group 5?
Okay, thank you.
So you need to join the group. And I will pause. So people at home, again, just have a little go at the blind continuous line technique, another observational technique, and see how you go. Oh, gosh. Oh, I'm trying to minimize this so I can. Sorry, people at home. I can't seem to get my, I'll stop share, I think. Oh, no, I won't. All right. So it is a really good observational technique. Rahil, are you with someone? Rahil, you haven't joined. Oh, you have joined. No? Okay. All right. So I'll just get them back and we'll see how they have gone with that one. Yeah. In the classroom, it is a, it's fun. It's engaging. The children get a good kick out of it. The ages vary. Some kids cope really well with this. Other kids, it depends on your cohort of children. So just just experiment, I guess. All right. Looks like Kamal is in a room by herself. Okay. I'm going to close all rooms.
So Victoria, my internet cut out, so I wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's all right. You can have a little go at it at home if you wish.
Okay, but thank you.
That's fine. They're coming back now anyway.
Yeah.
It looks like Sarah's might have. Did Sarah, did yours cut out too?
No.
No? Oh, good. You got to draw someone?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Have you drawn the body?
Yeah, I did a bit of everything.
Oh, right. Nice. Did you look down? It looks like you looked down.
No, I didn't.
It looks like it's like well formed.
How?
I don't know. It just looks like it.
It looks like scribbles all
No.
over the page.
No, you did well. All right. I will get rid of this. Okay. Oh, thank goodness. I'm going to move these down, I think, because I couldn't get to them before. So I'll put them down here. All right. So let's move on to the next slide. Oh, actually, let's see. Let's have a look at everybody's. Hang on a minute. I'm going to make sure that we've got you on the screen. Nice. This is like a gallery. All right. We got your pictures. Oh, nice. Nice. I'm liking these. I actually like these better than the continuous line, just the pure continuous line. They're really obscure. Yeah, nice one. Bit of technology there, Emily. Nice, looking good. All right, I will put you over to the side. Okay, so string continuous line. So have you all got string? Have you all got a piece of string?
No.
No? Okay. So string continuous line is exactly what it says. I'll just show you and you can have a bit of a play around with it. All right. So I've got the string in my colors. So I've got two colors. I was going to mix you up another one there. I just add a little bit of water down the bottom and then add my paint, my acrylic paint. I'm just going to minimize this. All right, so what have I got there? Experiment with a piece of string and manipulate the string using free form placement. Experiment with overlapping. So I've got my string. Dip the string into paint, gently wipe off the excess of the string with the cloth and experiment. So what I would normally do is have that flat, of course, and experiment by dropping the string and having a look at the line. Now you could get the kids to actually just put some sticky tape on and then experiment with, not experiment, but draw the line. But with this one, you're dipping the color, you're dipping the string into color. So I'm just taking my string, okay, and placing it onto my paper. Like so. All right, and then I'm just patting my string down. I take it off. Hang on, I'm just going to show you. And it prints out the string. I'll just move it forward a little bit so you can see. So then I can take another color. Oh, I just better make sure that's recording again. Okay, good. All right, and then I take my blue, same thing. Placement of string, of course, should be on a flat surface. Just going to pat down the string, take the string off, and keep on experimenting with the string. Preferably like one big long string because it's a continuous line drawing. I've just added, you know, if you can pretend that I've just got one continuous line here. It's just a bit hard being placed on the surface. So I'm going to press my overlap down. So preferably you'd have one long piece of string or two long pieces of string. Mine are pretty short. And then the idea of this is once it's dried and you've got repetitive shapes, you're using a black marker to then experiment with the forms. Okay, so what forms and shapes can you see? Can you recognize any familiar shapes? Can you create a composition using the shapes? Manipulate the shapes by adding some detail. Example, can you see a face? So what can we see, guys, in this one? Might have to turn the page. Oh, yes, I can see a face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in the nostrils. Looks like an eye there. Might have some hair here. Probably needs a little bit of an ear. This looks like a shoulder. So I might actually that down. Need a bit of a mouth here. Okay, can you see my face? So I'm using the string print. Hang on a minute. Sorry. Can you see my face? So just a little bit of an experiment with the string and line. So and getting the children, the early years children, to actually explore a bit more of line by manipulating a different resource other than a pencil. Okay. All right, so the elements and principles: line, shape, pattern, repetition, contrast, balance, and movement. Content descriptor: use and experiment with different materials, techniques, technologies, and processes to make artworks. Explore ideas, experiences, observations, and imagination to create visual artwork. So that's what I've just done there. My nose looks like it's dripping, so it might be this guy might have a little bit of a cold. I probably should do another eye here, maybe, just to, might be a little bit cubist. All right, and eyebrows. All right, a little bit on the cubist side. Okay, so that's just another technique. Let's move on. Okay, two color mixing. So the element of color, of course, it makes up many compositions. So we have the primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. And then we go to the secondary colors. So when we mix two primary colors together, we get secondary colors, of course. So red plus blue equals purple, red plus yellow equals orange, yellow plus blue equals green. So this is like a science experiment for the children. So tertiary colors, these colors are created by taking one primary color and mixing it with a secondary color. Okay, so making a yellow green or a blue green or a red purple or a blue purple. So you're just adding that, you know, the primary, just to make it very intense. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, green, and so on. Okay, so now have you all got paint? All got paint?
Nope.
No. Oh.
Because I'm in a library, like in a public library.
Oh, are you? That's okay.
It takes me too long to get home from uni, so.
That's okay, Sarah. Has anybody got paint?
I do.
You do? Good. Okay, so I'll show you this. And Josh, I think you've done this before anyway, but just bear with me. And some of the, if you've been in my classes before, you probably have too. So what we are going to do is and I'll just move this back and just watch what I do. You're going to paint the palm of your hand. All right. So you're going to paint the palm of your hand with the primary colors. Okay. So every primary color. I'll just get rid of this. Looks like I've got blue. All right. So I'm going to put blue on my thumb here, a little bit up here, and maybe one finger. And then I'm going to use a different paintbrush, get some yellow, paint it on this, just in the middle here, on these fingers and hand. And then I'm going to paint my last fingers. And this is a really lovely way of exploring color mixing with the kids in early childhood. Okay, I'll move my man here. Then I am going to print my hand onto the piece of paper and really make sure I get those colors down on the piece of paper. When I lift, I have got, oh, my palm of my hand didn't work. Oh, it's a bit hard. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my hand with a different primary color now. So in order to make, what can I make? Orange, green, and purple. Orange, green, and purple. I'm going to need yellow on my red, blue on my yellow, and then red on my blue. So a little bit of explicit teaching. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to squash my hand over that same print, and hopefully my colors will mix together to make tertiary colors. Okay. All right. So as you can see, I've got orange, I've got green, and I've got a really blue purple. So maybe I should have made that a little bit more red. A very dark blue, this one. So I'll just go over this and squash it a little bit more. All right. So then you end up with a hand like that, but that's okay. And you can make many, many prints. But I have just color mixed from the primary to the secondary colors. Has anybody got any other ways of mixing colors that they have explored? While I wipe this off. Anybody? And share? I actually get those bath bombs too. From Crayola, you can get some nice fizzy bath bombs that come in the primary colours. I will get the kids to put those into containers. So I'll get those big packing containers, plastic ones, and I'll get them to drop in one colour, and then I'll get them to drop in another colour, and so on until we mix all the colours, the primary to the secondary colours. Another way of mixing the colours is experimenting with watercolour. So dripping the watercolour or the food colouring onto a piece of paper using the primary colours, and then dripping over with another primary colour to mix orange, green, and purple. There's various ways of mixing the colours. Okay, so if you all haven't got paint, that's a thing that you need to get. You need to start getting these resources together ASAP, because you're going to be doing a lot of painting and a lot of drawing, and you are keeping a journal for your assessment. So you need to do these explorations. Okay, so I was going to get you to daub 2 primary colors onto a surface, and I'll just show you. So, okay, let's see. I'm going to daub some yellow. Hopefully you can see this. Sorry, yellow. And I'll put some blue on here too. Okay, then I was going to use my finger. I was going to get you guys to use your finger and create some color mixing, but create an animal or an insect or something. So by mixing two primary colors, blue and yellow, I've got to then think of something that is green. So I can think of a nice little amphibian who is green. And I might just get the back of my pen. Oh, what did I do then? No, pulled it down. I'll get the back of my paintbrush to do some legs and some eyes, actually. I'm still using the primary colors. Got a little bit of black in there, actually. I might do some. Oh, frog's a little bit skew if. Okay, so I'm experimenting with color mixing. Okay, what sort of animal could I explore using orange? So using red and yellow together. I'll blob that down and I'll get some more yellow. There's my yellow. Just get my palette here. Blob some yellow down. What's an animal that is orange? Could you tell me?
A lion?
A lion? Okay, let's have a little go. Okay, so I think you get the general concept of what we are doing here. I'm getting the kids to, I think it's going to be more a cat. Getting the children to actually explore the color mixing with their fingers and creating an actual picture that relates to that color. Okay, so I just chose, it looks like a cat. I'll use a little bit of black. Doesn't look like a lion. Hang on, might be able to. Okay, I think you get the general idea, don't you? Of what to do. Yes?
Yes, and your line looks good.
I don't know about that, but anyway, it's all good. But it's just a bit of fun for the children, you know, and it just adds that little bit of variety when they're, you know, like experimenting with color mixing. So let's move on. I'm getting a bit messy here. I wish you guys would get messy with me. All right, so, I forgot to mention what you could do too is place another piece of, I should put an eye here, another piece of paper on top, and you can do some prints off those paintings. But yeah, that we can do that another day. All right, so another painting. I wish you did have paints. We were going to create an animal using the primary colors and the secondary colors. Have you got watercolors? What resources have you got at home at the moment?
I've got the paint, so I tried to do what you did, but yours turned out a lot better.
No, that's great. I'm glad you experimented. What did you come up with, Shania? Did you have paint too? Linda,
Yeah,
that looks great.
I did a frog, but it looks really not very good. But yeah,
you know what? It's on the run that we're doing this, so it's all good. Those look good. Did anybody else have a bit of a play around? You can see the concept though, introducing this to the children. You know, they're relating the colors to the animals or the things. Okay, and in this case, we're looking at animals. So within your journal, it's that concept, you know, of exploring and experimenting, but it's also it is also you know, connecting them to technique also, so finger painting and color mixing. So does anybody have colored pencils or watercolors?
I have pencils.
Yeah,
But not
pencils.
the colours.
Courtney, do you have pencils too? Or Rahel? Paris?
Yeah, I do. I just need to find them.
You do? So if you have some pencils, then you can do this. You can draw this animal, okay? You can use pencils. But next week,
Okay.
make sure you have paint, you know, acrylic paint, watercolors, colored pencils, everything I listed off, thick markers. Don't get the deer acrylic paint. This was only around about $2.50. You can get them for $1. I know that. String, cardboard, little pieces of wood, spud. Just start gather resources. So get a bit of a collection going. Okay. Watercolors. Okay. Because we are going to be painting, and that's what we were concentrating on tonight. Okay. All right. So this one is you are creating an animal using the primary colors and the secondary colors. So as you can see with the giraffe, we can see primary, and then we can see some splattering of the secondary colors, can't we? We can see yellow. We can see a little bit of red. We can see orange. We can see blue, and we can see green, and we can even see just the tiniest bit of purple. It's a bit of a purpley brown here. But we can create an animal that is a mixture of the primary and secondary colors. So I might pause the recording and let you guys experiment with that one. And I'm sure, you know, like, hang on, I might pause it first. How did we go? Does anybody want to reveal their picture? I'm concentrating on a bit of a chameleon here, I guess. So I'm trying to get both primary and secondary colors. My palette here is getting a little bit messy, but not to worry. But having a bit of an experiment. So I am adding purples. I am adding greens. I have added a bit of orange. And I have, as you can see, I've got yellows. Gonna make those eyes a little bit bigger. Maybe I can. So what you need to do is when you are exploring this with the kids, then getting them to think outside the square, maybe getting them to have a look on the internet and exploring the internet for different animals that they may see that has a range of colors. You know, butterflies, insects are always good. And we are going to be looking at insects next week. So the week after that, we're going to be doing a lot of painting. So you are going to need those paints, people, in order for you to complete that journal. So make sure that you have got those paints. All right. So anyway, that's a bit of a chameleon. I need to finish it off, I guess. So I might try and finish that off at another time. Okay, so let's move on. Does anybody want to reveal their painting? Linda? Oh, Linda, that looks cute. That's nice. Is that your cat?
It tried to be.
Yeah, nice. That looks
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And does anybody else want to reveal their painting? They experiment with primary and secondary colors? No?
I didn't have any paint, so I did a drawing.
Oh, good. Thanks, Josh. We have a
It's
little
almost finished. It's not all the way done.
Doesn't matter.
I drew this.
Oh, nice.
A bit hard to see.
So what, can you explain your picture?
It's trying to be a jaguar, but it's like its mouth open.
Oh, I can see it. Yes,
There's
can
its
see it.
mouth.
Yeah,
And
nose up here. Is that the
I don't know.
nose? Where's the nose? Oh,
Right here.
it's side on. Yeah, nice. Oh, that looks good. Yeah, very good. You understand the concept. It's just about experimenting, getting them to explore. So yeah, very good. Thanks for that, participating. That's great.
Victoria, I just want to ask, do we have to bring in paints, or can we use like pencils and textures?
You can use pencils. If you're going to be stuck in a library, Are you going to be in a library every? Yeah.
'Cause my internet's broken at home at the moment.
Yeah, that's okay, Sarah. It is what it is, you know, but if you could get oil pastels even,
Okay.
that would be good.
All right.
And then maybe at a later date, you can rewatch some of the tutorials, or just do it from memory, of course, and have a bit of an exploration at home. But it's up to you. Really, it's just because you're gathering a whole lot of technique, you know, different resources, activities to introduce to your children you know, within the school that you'll be a future teacher at. Then that's what it's all about. This is what we are slowly gathering a collection of resources that we could use, okay, and activities.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
That's okay. That's all right. Oh, I've got to minimize this. Okay, wait a minute. I think I went too far forward. Right. Then I was going to get you to experiment with either watercolor or acrylic. So as you can see in these paintings, and I won't do it, but we won't explore it, but you can explore it at another time. So if you wish, you can, you know, when you do get the paints, or those people who do have paints and watching the recording, then have a little go at using watercolor in the same, you know, using the same concept. Okay, so mixing primary to secondary, or mixing a range, so the color spectrum. So doing those blue yellows, greens, I mean blue greens, and the red purples, and so mixing to tertiary. So you know, stepping it up. So primary, secondary, tertiary. Okay. All right. So we'll move on. So authentic visual arts, and you've got to remember this because this is within your assignment too. Okay. You'll be talking about authentic visual arts pedagogies, authentic arts pedagogies. So they explore, when we plan authentic lessons, we explore the elements and principles of art through experimentation, just like that connection to the curriculum says. You allow young learners to express themselves through art. You provide opportunities for individual and collaborative artwork, so that co-constructivism approach, an inquiry learning approach. You're encouraging the scribbles, the mark making, the shape making, the meaning making, going through all those stages of drawing, all those stages of painting and representing. You use a range of techniques, processes, and materials, and you are providing ready opportunities and well-planned opportunities that will explore making and responding. Okay, so I'm going to say this again, but avoid the cookie cutter approach. So having those cutouts for the kids and treating this as an art project that will be assessed. Okay, these are fine if they're just exploring with the colors and things like that for a little bit of fun, but they aren't authentic creative opportunities. Okay, it's more about the fine motor skills here than anything, maybe about the social emotional, but creativity, not much at all. Okay, so the cookie cutter approach, the same approach, little to no individuality. Photocopies, so color in photocopied work, very little creativity, no individuality. Color in's very good for the fine motor, but you could not assess it. You probably wouldn't put it up on your wall either, but I do know teachers who do. Free for all. So free for all, it does allow for individuality, but attention does need to be given to the connections to authentic arts learning and educational value as per curriculum. And then you've got the handmaiden approach, which is not it's not authentic just to the arts. You've got an integrated approach there, but in assessment, you must have equal opportunity for both of the curriculum areas, or whatever, whatever integrated approach you're doing, or integrated planning. All curriculum areas must have equal value. You just can't say, oh yeah, we are exploring the arts, but it is propping up science. You know, it might be that you're drawing a little experiment picture. You can't call that authentic arts. That's a handmaiden approach to exploring creativity. And so there's hardly any, well, there's a bit of creativity, but yeah, we tend not to do it. Okay, so this one is creating free form animals using wet on wet bleeding techniques. So what you do here is you take your, so we're going to change medium from acrylic to watercolor. Oh, my water is nasty. All right, so I might use this big brush actually. So what I'm going to do, and hopefully, oh, I've got a bit of color. I've got color on there. Okay, my water is disgusting, and all right, so I'm just going to put this wet, very wet brush, and then, oh, meant to be done flat. I'm going to dab. Oh, can you see that? Dab the color in there. And then what I'm going to do is manipulate my page, my canvas, so I get these free form shapes. Might put a little bit of different color there on there. Oh, wow. It's disgusting water. So I'll put a little bit of red in there. And again, I'm just manipulating so it's bleeding into each other. Now, bleeding usually, if you've got it flat, it tends to do the old capillary action, so it bleeds into each other. But by twisting and turning, I'm getting these beautiful lines here actually. So what the aim of this is, it is for the children to try and establish some free-form shapes, organic shapes, and then try to make something out of those shapes. So create a composition out of those shapes. I might dab some more on there, a little bit more red. I might even try, and where's some green? Some green on there. So very wet, saturated, wet on wet, it's called. So can anyone see any possibility of an animal or something in that? Can you see anything? I'm trying to see, and this is about problem solving. It's about analysing the form. It's
I don't want to be rude, but maybe an animal after it got hit by a car.
Thanks.
It still looks very beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Josh. I'm going to continue.
I love the colours.
I love the colours too. I'm going to keep on manipulating, but I think you get what I mean, don't you? So you want the children to experiment with splashes of colour. Now I'm sort of manipulating not manipulating, but moving the canvas around a lot there. But I'm yet to see a nice form that I can use. If it was flat, on the other hand, I would be just allowing the paint to bleed into each other, okay? As you can see in this one, I'm just pointing at the one that is on the screen now. You could possibly make something out of that form. What could you see in that? Now you can add Nicopan. There are the Posca paint pens. You've got textures, you've got pencils that you can use, you've got charcoal, you've got all sorts of different medium that you could add to the dry watercolor surface, the dry watercolor form. But can you see anything in that? Or can you see anything in that? You really have to use your imagination, and children do. We are a little bit more stilted when it comes to that. I see shapes all the time. You know, when you look up in clouds and you see different forms, or you see faces, and you see all sorts of things, you know, horses and whatever in the clouds, or in tiles. I can see lots and lots of different compositions just forming all over the place. But yeah, it might be difficult for some other people, but that's what it's about. It is about trying to manipulate a shape that has been bled into one another. Okay, so you dampen your paper with water, you saturate your paintbrush with the chosen color, you dab the color onto your wet paper, and you let the color bleed into the water. You repeat this process with a different color. So several different colors bleeding together and they mix. So whether you want the children to, again, experiment with primary colors, then so be it, into secondary colors. The colors will run with the manipulation of the page. So turning, but I wouldn't turn. I tend to just let the children experiment just by the bleeding, because that's an experiment in itself too, you know, the capillary action of the water. Let the painting dry, add detail to the form and create an animal using your imagination. So you are exploring organic shapes, the elements and principles, color, form, shape, value, balance. So getting them to recognize those within the work, and the connection to the curriculum, explore ideas, experiences, observations, imagination to create visual artworks and design. Use and experiment with different materials, techniques, technologies, and processes to make artworks. Okay, so there's a big connection there. Then you could go on to, when they have finished it, to create a character, you know, within a story. So to write a story or to retell a story of the character that they have created out of it. It might be a monster, it might be an alien, it might be an insect, it might be an animal, it might be a person. You just don't know. I might try and manipulate that a little bit more, and then I'll put it onto the discussion forum and show you what I came up with. Okay, so inspiration can come in many forms, of course. So storytelling, I did turn them. Yeah, that's all right. I've got to make sure that I'm still recording. Storytelling, observation, music and poetry, dance and drama, inspiration from artworks. So exposing them, going on excursions, having incursions, and walks in nature. And there's a whole other list, okay? There's a list of lots and lots of things that can be inspirational to the children. Okay, so the line of sight document from ACARA, the Australian curriculum, have a look at that. It goes through all the arts, all the sub-strands, exploring ideas and improving ways to represent ideas. You can find that on the Australian curriculum. Provocations and resources. So set up incidental artistic exploration, guided discovery, colour mixing, exploration, link incidental artistic subjects such as landscape painting using mixed colour palettes. So setting out specific colours and letting the children explore those warm colours or those cool colours. Provide provocations within the environment, so natural objects. So the placement of natural objects. Various drawing medium to explore photos of Australian landscapes. So providing texts or photos or books. Whole group discussions, appraising artworks. And we are going to have a look at that in a moment. One in a moment. It's by Joy Hester, Girl Holding Chicken. What do you think the girl is looking at? So you come up with some really open-ended questions so you can create dialogue within your class and your whole group. What expression is on the little girl's face? What animal is she holding? And so on. You can come up with a myriad of questioning. And if we have a look here, whoops, if we have a look at the painting itself, what is happening in this artwork? Besides, you have to think deeper than just the girl holding the chicken. There's much, much more to this painting. I don't know, you know, Joy Hester, every piece of work is subjective. It's your own thoughts on the artwork. So let's get a discussion happening now. What is happening in this artwork? What's your interpretation? What's your thought pattern on this artwork? Come on, you guys. We've got to have a chat.
Is it a person holding a bird?
Yeah, it's girl holding chicken. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So she's actually holding a chicken. But what do you think's happening? Why, you know, describe the elements of art. We'll go into that later. What's your first reaction to the artwork? What do you think? What do you think's happening? What is the story behind the artwork?
Well, I feel like she's got it from a farm and she's gonna go eat it. I don't know, because she looks like she's looking back as someone's gonna take her food or her chicken that she wants to eat.
Yes.
She looks scared.
She looks scared. And what makes you think she looks scared?
It's the facial expressions and the dark tones.
That's right. So the dark tones of the colors, the facial expression, so the eyes looking that way,
the shades of like the different colors. So like they've shaded the black like quite dark, but then you look at those little spicks of yellow.
Yeah, it's quite monotone, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the actual and holding, you know, it looks like she's holding with all her strength to the chicken because of the placement of the arms. So there's a whole lot of factors that you could get the children to respond, and they will come up with a whole lot of things that they think is happening, their views, their opinions, their meaning making. Okay. So, you know, you're right. Your eye is drawn to her eyes. Mine are, because she's looking in one direction. So what is happening over here? You know, what could be happening? You've just said a person might be standing there, might be going to take the chicken. Certainly happens on farms. It certainly happens, you know, people eat chickens, of course. Do you think this might be her pet?
Yes.
Could be her pet. Could be she's very being very protective of her pet. Now, so we've discussed what is happening in the artwork. Have we discussed the elements? What other elements can you see within that artwork?
It looks like there's some sort of house or there's something behind her.
Yep.
Got that roof.
So what makes you think that?
The top of the house. It could be some type of building because of the roof the shape that's created behind her.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned shape because shape is an element. So, yep, shape. And we've mentioned color. Now, line has been used to create the shape, of course, but you've also got broken lines too, haven't you? So, is there texture within this work?
Maybe the girl's top, it looks like it's a textured sort of a top.
Texture, yes.
The
And
background's textured, I believe, like the dark
tones.
Background is textured.
Yes. And there's a gradation of color which makes us think that there is texture happening. Below the chicken, there seems to be some feathering there, you know, to represent the feathers. So that stroke of line has created that sort of textural element there and the shade underneath. So do you get what I mean by trying to unpack the artwork? You know, and that's all that's the other part of the content descriptors and the curriculum making. So they make, but they also respond. And the next thing I would like you guys to do is actually, which we might look at next week. We might respond to this painting through our own visual connection. Okay, so drawing what may happen next, or not next week. Yeah, no, we'll do it now. So I want you guys to draw what you think is going to happen next, okay? Or you can draw what you think has happened before this painting. So it can either be the past or the present, okay? Or not past, or the future, I should say, past or future. So you're making a prediction, all right? So you're analyzing this painting and you're making a prediction. So I'm going to pause the recording and let you guys have a bit of a quick sketch. We won't spend too much time on this, and try and document your visual thoughts on this. Okay, so I'm going to pause and I'll let you putting. Okay, so we're just viewing. So Josh, can you put yours back up, and Paris, can you put yours back up so we can have a little look for the viewers at home? Nice one. Would you come up with Shania?
Mine's a bit. It's
Thank you, Linda.
them
Thanks,
being
Josh.
chased, but it's not very good. But yeah,
Oh, nice. Very good.
the
That,
chicken's fallen out of her arms as
Yeah.
they're running away.
right. So it's running. Anybody else want to reveal their drawing for us? No? Okay. I hope you're still there. Maybe not. Okay. All right. So as you can see, there is a, by responding to it visually, then you're getting another point of view, everybody's point of views, and everyone's going to have a different point of view. Now, if you can have a look here, I've just, while you were doing that, I did some bleeding, but I cheated a little bit because I actually got a cloth and I dried it before I could apply this. So this is my little Scotty dog, which I manipulated through that bleeding technique. All right, so, okay, so the following slide contains painting by Jennifer, a student. So we'll just talk about this one. And it's a visual response to Van Gogh's Sunflowers. So what's happened in the with this, the teacher introduced the class to the painting, Sunflowers by Van Gogh, and they explored the techniques. So they talked about the techniques, possible techniques that Van Gogh used. The subject, which was a vase of flowers, of course, a vase of sunflowers, and the reasoning behind why the artist made his artistic choices. And you can come up with various reasons. Maybe there's a field of sunflowers next door to him. Maybe sunflowers were his favorite flower. Maybe he's in hospital and he was given a bunch of sunflowers. But I would, as a constructivist and as a constructivist approach, I would get them to investigate and talk about it. We would talk about it quite a lot. They could investigate it via their iPads, the time period, and the artist himself. They could do that as a group, small group, partners, or on their own, at a table they could do it individually and then have a share. They explored the chosen techniques. Okay, so the Jennifer, she explored the chosen techniques, the medium, and they explored the style of painting. The teacher incited discussion and dialogue through carefully chosen teaching strategies. So questioning, collaboration, inquiry learning. The students then went on to hypothesize, analyze, problem solve, and collaborate within the whole group and small group discussions. They were encouraged to use higher order thinking. And that's what these, by allowing the children to analyze, problem solve, collaborate, discuss, you predict, it's that you are allowing them to think at a higher level. So it's called higher order thinking. Then they went on to visually represent what they had learned. Okay, so they were inspired by the Van Gogh painting, and this is what they come up with. And this is Jennifer's portrayal of, so she used the same content or the same subject as Van Gogh, so flowers. Now, she chose different colors for her flowers rather than mimic or copy Van Gogh's. They were allowed to use their own creativity as a response. And that's what you want to get. You want to get to that stage where the children are creating. So they've got their own originality, they've got their own individuality happening. So in both paintings, they have both manipulated the elements and principles of line, color, texture, shape, size, repetition, value, balance, movement, emphasis. There's a list that could go on. And as children grow, they develop their creativity. They come to realize the conventions and techniques of artistic exploration, and they create their own compositions inspired by these artists. So Jennifer manipulated the elements and principles within her artwork, and so did Van Gogh, okay, a master painter. So as you can see, there are similarities, but there are definite differences too. Would you like to talk about this, or will we just go on? Yep. Any comments? Okay. All right. So teacher-student dialogue. Remember to avoid asking, what is it? What is it? Instead, you will elicit their thoughts and feelings about what they have created, and you encourage oral dialogue. So you keep it open-ended. Could you tell me about the story behind your drawing? Could you tell me a little bit about how you have manipulated the technique or manipulated the resources? So this taps into the child's expressive intentions rather than conveying that art should always be representing something. It also encourages discussion, responding to the child's own artwork. So not only do they respond to others' artwork, so famous paintings, known and unknown artists, and they respond to their peers' artworks, they respond to their artworks through their own meaning making and own oral and written discussion. So those visual literacies come into play again. All right, and these are the references for our tutorial tonight. So if you'd like to have a little bit of a look at that, then be my guest. But that's it for us tonight. So are there any questions, please? Any questions about the assignment? Any questions about what we learned tonight? Now, up on Leo, you will... Oh, yes.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. No, I just wanted to confirm, I know I emailed you about this today, but with the journal, so like all the artwork we did tonight, would we put that in the journal and then just write some notes about some of the things we learned? Is that sort of how you'd approach it?
Yeah, and you would mention like the connection to the curriculum. You can have those artworks that you created and how they have been connected to the curriculum can be annotated. So okay. you can add those into an appendix, or you can add them to, like within your essay itself, your Word document. But you are going to have to, and I will get it up, concentrate on, and here it is here, writing an essay. So we talked about this last week, and I was going to get some clarification. So you can either do an essay or you can do a visual and written presentation, which can be multimedia. Okay, so a PowerPoint, Google Slides, Prezi. Now that is a little bit more work than an essay, of course, because if you put the essay into a Word document, you can add an appendix or appendices at the end, and that's fine to do. But what you are doing mainly in this this essay is you are documenting everything. Okay, so it isn't until you go into, where is it? Okay, assessment 2 that this will come into the journal will come into effect. Okay, and this is where it says here reflective journal, which responds to the contents of the arts workshops. So that's why we are encouraging you to actually start, to think about collating that these workshops into the journal. Okay, so you will be including the subject content, so and the weekly workshops, and so you are developing a plan for providing a group of young children with the resources, motivations and teaching support necessary to implement extended integrated arts experiences in an early childhood setting. This plan must be supported by relevant theories and literature. So your collation of this work, whether you use some of it or whether you use all of it, it's up to you. I'm thinking you probably will use parts of the visual arts, parts of media, parts of drama, parts of music, parts of dance within your developed plan. Okay, so it's what we're encouraging you to do is actually start making connections now, so you understand the concepts and that connection to the curriculum and theory and research. Okay,
so Victoria, there's no really right or wrong way to do it. It's just how you're like putting everything together. And
that's right. That's right. So I sort of referred to the first one, but like the second one is the journal part, but the first one, your essay and visual and written presentation, like you can make reference to, you are talking about what they have experienced, and we have talked about a lot of that within the last week's workshop and this week's workshop, you know, that they are exposed to different facets of exploration within arts, you know, within the school. So all those examples, you know, Shania, you're not going to use, you know, like all of the examples, because you've got to make connections, although you have to make connections. You are going to grab the ones that will best be able, you know, you can talk about and you can make the connections really readily, and you can find the research to back up why, you know, the arts is so important in early childhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for going through that. The only other quick one I have from what we've talked about tonight is with the curriculum. So with the first assignment, say you do 3 to 5 year olds, do you still need to incorporate the Australian curriculum if you're talking about 3 to 5 year olds?
5-year-olds are part of the foundation. So you can either or you've got the ELF document and you've got the New Zealand early years document too.
Okay.
So there's, you know, our ELF document is based on the New Zealand one. So we, you know, you can use that, but you can use part of the foundation. So Australian curriculum, because there's quite a lot of content in the Australian curriculum that you can get. If you can get your head around it, which you should be, then you can, you know, pull out snippets of information and that connection. All of it is relevant to the early years.
Yeah, so because you could say that's potentially where you're going to.
That's right.
I'm just planning to do like just like 3 years, like not 3 to 5. Like I'm just choosing for part 2.
Oh, okay, so you're
do I just use the early years learning framework then if I'm just doing 3?
Yes, you do. So is that what you were talking about, Shania? You said 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I was just talking generally if I'm doing like the early years.
Yeah. So if you're choosing infants or toddlers, then you would use the ELF.
Yeah.
But if you're doing 3 to 5, you'd probably choose the ELF and the Australian curriculum.
You can talk about how it can lead on to that. Okay.
Yeah. See, at 5 years old, they're in prep. So so that's relevant. That's the first one. So that's an essay, visual, written presentation, whatever way you want to do it. But the second one, you must start collating that journal now so you can choose snippets of that journal. You know, like this, the reflective journal itself is a little bit different from you collating weekly workshops and your lecture notes and things like that. But in saying that, the big overriding journal that you're collecting week by week by week is going to help you with assessment too. Okay, because that's the reflective journal. So parts of your collation of information will come into play in that. All right. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, but we'll go more into that. It's not due until September 18th, but you do need to start collating some information now. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll go on. We'll call it a night, I think. Yeah. And we'll talk about those assessment. What I'll do is or Kathleen might do it, put together a assessment presentation, and then we can put it up on Leo and I can go through it then. Okay, so probably
that would be great.
Yeah, we'll do that. So just to clarify, the assessment 1, 2, and 3, but assessment 1, like I said, you know, start getting onto that now, but you know, think about what what we have been doing in the workshops and the lectures too. Okay, so that subject content is very important, and start to get together your research for that. But in saying that, keep on task. Time management is really important. So the more notes you've got about these workshops is going to help you in your second assignment. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll leave you now and leave you be, and I'll download this recording and get it up on Leo. So if you need to have another look at it, so be it. If you want to do some painting, which, you know, it'd probably be advisable, but anyway, that's up to you guys. But but can you please get together those resources? Now, I have put a list out before, but I'll put another list out because you must start, you know, have a little box with you.
Where did you put that list? Because I couldn't.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look. I'll have to have a look where I have. Maybe I haven't put it up yet, but I'll put it on. I know I sent out an email and I put it on the discussion forum too.
Okay.
So, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll send out a generic email and I'll have the list on there. Okay.
All
So the list of, because it's only acrylic paint, watercolors. You can collect oil pastels, anything that's going to allow you to create string, cardboard, you know, just get yourself a little box, put those things in. All you need is the three primary colors and black and white for the acrylic colors, and just get a little palette, probably cost you $2 or $3 from a cheap shop. Watercolors, get a couple of paintbrushes, 2 or 3, get an ice cream container for water, get some string. What else have I got? We're going to be doing some printmaking. So I use foam, but if you can find the equivalent to foam, that would be great. Perspex, if you've got any sort of plastic, like a placemat or anything like that, then make sure that's on hand. Sponges, glue, straws. So we're going to be doing some blow painting in the next couple of weeks. So straws with our acrylic paint. You can use bubbles, a little bit of detergent from your kitchen. I'll write out a big list. I'll send it via email, but just be mindful that if you see it, grab it and put it in the box because it might be handy, okay? And I don't mind if you switch it off, like you switch it up, like you, Sarah. If you can't use paint, then using oil pastels, or you know, at the time in the library, or using watercolor pastels and then adding water later might be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of ways of doing this, but you sure can experiment with the different mediums anyway. It's not, you know, like just because I'm using those, it doesn't mean that you don't have to, but you need to use some sort of paints, okay? So maybe watercolor pencils or whatever.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, no worries. All right, I'm going to end this and I will see you next week. So
Thank you.
have a good week,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Thank
See
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye.